The second scripture is taken from Matthew 5, verses 14 through 16. It's a very familiar passage to us, and you'd find it in the New Testament on page 4. You are the light of the world. A city built on a hill cannot be hid. No one, after lighting a light, puts it under a bushel basket, but on the lampstand, and gives it light to all the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven. This is the word of the Lord. Be to God. Who are we here at Northside? So, what is our light to shine? We have a history. And those of you who don't ever look at the church's webpage, it's really kind of an interesting webpage because it tells lots of stuff. One of the things that it tells is our history here at Northside. The website says that we're about to have our 128th birthday. On November the 7th, 2015, which would be a Saturday. So we're celebrating that birthday on Sunday, which is the same Sunday, November the 8th, that we do the pledge cards, and it's going to be the same Sunday that we're going to have a dinner afterwards. So 128 years. We merged with Central Presbyterian Church, and before they merged with us, they had a separate and independent and magnificent church that did lots of things for lots of people. And they were in existence for 90 years. As far as I'm concerned, we have a combined church. We have 218 years that we've been in existence. Now, the web also tells us another thing. It says, just as North Chattanooga is diverse politically and socially, Northside Presbyterian Church is a full spectrum church. People to the right, people to the left feel comfortable with one another here. You know, our church is such a full spectrum church that baptism, for instance, if you would like to be sprinkled, it's all right. If you would like to be dipped, it's all right. If you would like to be fully immersed in the creek, that's all right. Our church allows all kinds of different ways and thoughts of how to do things. Well, the web page goes on to say that all people are welcome at Northside, and then it adds something that's kind of unusual. It says people in blue jeans and people in suits feel comfortable sitting next to one another. The church's longest mission was started in 1923, and it is the Northside Neighborhood House, founded by Rose Longley, Paige Schlesinger, and many of its directors, one of whom I see, were Northside members throughout the years. The Northside Neighborhood House covers all of North Chattanooga, all the way to Bakewell, and all the way to Hickson. We also are engaged in another mission, and that is the Presbyterian Women. And it's been active since 1921. These members do it all. They're especially known for world-focused missions. They study different countries. They study different the Bible, and they do things throughout the church. Northside's in-house mission is Northside Learning Center. It started in the 60s and has grown to what it is today. It's unique. What's unique about it is that they have music, they have drama, they have art, they have chapel, plus classroom work. It had a low point in about in 1999, 2000. And to brag on my wife, she took it over for 5 years. It had under 20, I think 17 students when she took it over. In 5 years, it had 70 plus students here. It was not rated when she took it over. It was a 3-star rated. Well, after that, Leslie has taken it over, and I'll talk a little bit more about Leslie in a minute as part of the staff, but it's gone to now, it used to be certified for up to 80, it's certified up to 90 now. And they have one of the longest waiting lists in Chattanooga to try to get in. There are a lot of you that have had some connection to the Learning Center. And just so that people here would recognize, if your child, grandchild, or you went to the Northside Learning Center or worked there at any time, would you all stand just so that the people could tell who it is that has had a connection with that Learning Center? Thank you. Next on the list is Hope House, and it's the UTC campus ministry. And Terry, who's back there, has worked absolutely tirelessly to make that thing go, and it has gone, again, another success story from, it was having a little bit of trouble. It got a shot of Terry's enthusiasm, and now it's not having any trouble anymore. It's doing wonderfully well. They've been able to hire a full-time minister to help work with them. But Terry, with the help of Henry frequently, have made those children feel safe, and more importantly, they've felt loved. Now, I mentioned Henry Paris, and some of you all may know that Henry is going through the ordination process with the Committee on Ministry here. He's graduated, he's got all the credentials, he's got tremendous education, and he is going to start doing a parish ministry through Northside. And you name it, it's a very broad ministry. It deals with the garden, it deals with urban ministry, it deals with relationships with the Northside Neighborhood House, and it has done a lot. And Henry has done a lot and still does and will. Next, when you think about the church building here at Northside, some of the things, at least it never registered with me, all the things that this building does on a daily or weekly basis. We have, for example, voting is here. We have I have a couple of friends who are alcoholics, and they tell me that the AA meeting that meets here is one of the most successful as far as affecting a positive change of any in the Chattanooga area. So I didn't know we had AA meetings here, but we do. We've had the bagpipers have met here for forever. Tai Chi has met here. Several of you all are ardent Tai Chi enthusiasts, and they meet there, and others meet there with them. And then we have several exercise classes that are here. Now, if you haven't noticed yet, I'm doing some bragging about the church and what it does. And I will continue to brag about what the church does there. The next thing I want to brag about is our staff and our officers that are here. Paul Rader is, we'd all be happier if he was here instead of me here today, but Paul has got a real, sure enough, doctorate degree. It's not one of those honorary things. It's a real doctorate degree. And before he was hired, several people were told that the executive presbyter said, he's the best this presbytery has. Since he's been here, I'm convinced the executive presbyter knew what he was talking about. Paul is smart, he cares, he works hard. Our numbers have begun to go up. Our enthusiasm has begun to go up. Now, the one thing that I have to say about Paul, and I don't know whether it's negative or positive, probably a little negative. Don't make a suggestion of a sermon topic to Paul. I'm here today because I suggested it to Paul, and he says, that would be really good. I would like you to do that while I'm on vacation. Since you're on the stewardship committee that I wasn't real sure how I got on, that would be an inroad into stewardship here. Allison Fike. Allison runs the office. Don't care what the title is, she runs the office. And she has been here for 12 years, and she loves us. Amazing. She absolutely loves us. Dave Kivett, who's got almost 30 years experience, says, and I'm going to quote him, she is the best I've ever seen because she cares for everybody. High praise from Dave. Leslie Morris. Leslie Morris is a lifetime member here at the church. She has been 10 years the head of the Learning Center. It has reached new heights under her leadership. She believes in great teachers, educated workers, and great food. The church has gotten the benefit of that great food because the next person on the staff is Jason Smith. Jason Smith is a person who is a gourmet cook. He was the sous chef for Council Fire Golf and Country Club before he came to us. He also had been the trainer for the chefs and management for all of the Longhorn Steakhouse restaurants before he came. He believes in great food for Wednesday night, great food for the Learning Center, and real food for the children, not just something you get out of a box for them. Susan Haddon, wow. She's the head of the entire music program. She's in charge of the music program for both the children and the church. I once saw her resume. It is truly impressive. National piano contests, North American contest winner, performed with Met Star in music performance. She has 2 degrees in music, teaches at the college level, directed music at Louisville Church, Presbyterian churches, which is, for some of you who don't know, that's the creme de la creme. That's where our home office is for this particular denomination. But her resume also includes words like master's degree in music, magna cum laude. Some of us got through with thank the Lord, but she definitely did. Hers is different, magna cum laude. She's also one of the nicest people that I've ever met. And she's married to Tommy, and Tommy is also one of the nicest people ever. And some of you may know him better as the waffle maker. Billy Glover. Billy is another jewel at this church and at the Learning Center. She's been with them for 31 years. She's always, always, always the first one there in the morning to greet the children at work. She's taught more children than anybody. Kay Rose. If children are involved, just as you've seen her perform up here, she's not only a gifted storyteller, but she is gifted with children. She's always willing to do whatever it is. We've got other staff people. We've got Barry Teague. I hate to say anything nice about him because he'll make me remember it. But Barry Teague is not only our treasurer, but he's also the city's treasurer. He's been an elder here on the session for years and years. Tim Hamilton, back there in the back, always videoing things that are going on. Tim Hamilton is both a national and an international photojournalist. He's done everything. If you'll sit down with him sometime, you'll find what was going on in Central America. He was there, the guy videoing it. If you want to know about some of the crazy people that were causing all kinds of problems, he's there. He was the man. He was there videoing it. And he, together with Ian Hutchison, videoed every service. And if you'll look sometime on our church website, it will take you to some of the services that were given. He doesn't just video them. He adds words, scriptures. He adds things that he is a true professional and makes our performance look very professional. Now, I would hate to see what would happen to us if Tripp and Clay, who we stole from Central, were not with us. They are like staff, and I have to include them there. Now, I'm still bragging. We have ministries that work here, and that's our way of getting things done. We have the administrative ministry, and if you'll really think about what the administrative ministry is, it includes personnel, which sounds like it belongs at administrative. It does finance, which is sort of what the trustees used to do in part. And then it also picks up with what the trustees also do, and that is the building and grounds. On top of that, it's in charge of stewardship. Wait a minute, that's why Paula Shuford and I ended up on the stewardship committee, because Barry put us there, I think. And Barry has done many things through the administrative committee. Those of you who have done work, whether it be a work day or whatever, or have been on the administrative ministry at any time, would you all stand up so folks would know who's there? Now, Barry's right back there, and I'm going to put him on the spot because after the service, if you would like to help with that ministry, Barry's the man. Next is the congregational care ministry, and it does what you think it does. It does membership care, but it also does fellowship. Everybody that's been on the congregational care committee, would you stand up? Well, don't come see me then. They need help too. Faith development ministry. That's the Christian education committee, and they do Christian education for all members. And if I get Jim Hooper, if you notice, Jim Hooper will stand up a lot by the time I finish today. He's the man. Stand up for us, Jim. He needs your help. Volunteer to him as you leave. Now, the next is the mission ministry. And it, for once, does exactly what it says, and that is, it cares for people in need. Would those members of that committee please stand for us? Thank you. Go to them if that's something you want to volunteer to do. Next is the worship committee. It deals with Sunday mornings. It deals with special services, ushers, communion, choir, and music. That's pretty broad. If you fit in any of those categories, would you please stand up for us? If you've been with the choir, if you've been with the music, if you've have dealt with that organization, so you can see where those folks are. If you've got any ideas about choir, today's a pretty good time to see Susan or one of the folks that just stood. The next is the witness ministry. And it deals with evangelism, and it deals with new member and how to process them and how to get them to come. And it's currently led by two folks that are wonderful at their work. But they need all the members, everybody here, to share the responsibility of getting new members. And I'd like to ask them to stand first, and then I'm going to ask as many as possible who will stand to help them look for and talk up the church if the rest would stand, that you pledge to join in that effort. Thank you very much. Now, still bragging, types of government. Different denominations have different types of church government. They generally, I once was told that the difference between Methodists and Presbyterians is that one believes in some form of predestination and the other believes in foreordination. I haven't had anybody explain to me yet what the difference is between foreordained and predestined. There must be some difference. But the most interesting part of our church government is that we are a representative form of government. People are elected People do jobs, and I have been told and have seen it written that the United States Constitution was in fact formed after the model of the Presbyterian Church. Now, your Methodists, your Episcopal churches are top down. You have a bishop, bishop's in charge, bishop tells people down the road what they're supposed to do. It's a different organizational structure, if you will. Baptist in its purest form, and I'm not sure it works that way very often, but Baptist in its purest form is everybody votes on everything, which ought to be interesting, but apparently it does work. Now, in order to join this church, if you ever ask, it only requires you to answer one question. You don't have to transfer a letter. You don't have to answer a million things. You have to be able to answer the question, is Jesus Christ, do you believe in Jesus Christ as your Savior? End. That's it. In order to be a member of an elder or something in church government, there are all kinds of extra questions that you ask about confessions and things like that. But we should be the simplest in the world to join. We have that one question. At Northside, our motto says, we strive to be a light on the hill for Christ and community. So, again, why have I been bragging about Northside all morning? So hopefully each of us will do some bragging about Northside to our friends, to our neighbors, so that we will not hide our light, so that we will be proud of the history, of the staff, of the ministries, and the members. This is an important part of the stewardship campaign. So what are we asking you to do? Well, first is financial. There's a pledge card. Paul Rader is a great man. He knows the church needs some additional funds through pledges right now. But he is very strong. He does not want the church to get those funds by guilt trip. It's an older building. We need another roof. I don't know how many new roofs we've replaced, but we need another roof. Right above the sanctuary is a roof that is 50 years old. It has disintegrated in many places. We have patched it with oil. You're not supposed to patch oil on a rubber roof, but that's the only way we've been able to make it last longer. The session has agreed to find the funds to pay for that new roof that will go up there. That new roof will help with the heat and air business. So we've got financial issues that we want to think about. We have time. Tripp said something to me one day that I have not been able to forget. And what Tripp said, I said, Tripp, what do you feel like you do best? You do a lot of things well. And he says, the thing I do best is I show up. And we need to give our time to the organization and not just our money. But the last thing and the last part of the stewardship program that we want everybody to focus on is enthusiasm. Tell the people who we are. Tell them what we've been doing. Tell them what we are doing. Talk to them about our staff. But most important, be excited. You know, God's done the work for us. It's up to us to do something about it. On the back of each bulletin should be a poem. And it's a poem that was written in the 1500s, 1520 something. It was written by a lady who became a nun. And it says, you'll notice that I've added the word he there, because apparently when I read it the first time, I didn't do a very good job proofreading it, and I missed the fact that the he was not in that poem. But it says, Christ has no body now on earth but yours, no hands but yours, no feet but yours. Yours are the eyes through which he is to look out. Christ's compassion to the world. Yours are the feet with which he goes about doing good. Yours are the hands with which he is to bless men now. Well, I'm not 100% sure theologically where that stands, but at times we indeed are the hands and feet of Christ. It's our turn to let that light shine. We need to let our hands and feet work for Christ. How can we do it? Well, they already announced one thing this morning, and that is that at 5:30 on the 28th, next week, next Wednesday, is trunk or treat. And we are going to have trunk or treat, hopefully in the parking lot. But we need people wandering around, even if you're not dressed in a clown suit. Bring candy. Pass it out of somebody's back of their pickup truck with them, or, open somebody's trunk and decorate the trunk. We need something like that. Now, our birthday is actually, as I said, on the 7th of November, but we're celebrating it along with the pledge lunch on the 8th. Show up. Do what Tripp says. Now, we need to watch for a special announcement on Henry Paris's ordination. And when we have that ordination, I'm going to be embarrassed if we don't show up with everybody in tow for that. I don't want the folks from some other part of the presbytery to have more folks show up than we do. Show up and be proud of who we are. The Learning Center is going to have a supper, and it is on November the 5th. And you know what it's for? The Learning Center decided we needed help paying for this roof. And they're going to have a supper, and the money's going to go to paying for the roof here in the sanctuary. Again, we are the hands and feet. Thanks be to God.